Hey, good morning, everybody. I am so glad you're here today. It's a beautiful Friday. I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to Chicago this weekend to see a wonderful show. Looking forward to it, and uh, and I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome. So, my name's Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert, a shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women who are in narcissistic relationships. Those who have romantic relationships now, or those who had family patterns, anything along those lines. I help women get strong. I help them find their voice, set boundaries, leave if they need to, learn how to manage their, emotions, learn how to have better relationship and coping skills, how to stand up for themselves, and how to avoid narcissists in the first place. So, today we're talking about the secret lives of a narcissist's family. So, a lot of women who find themselves in narcissistic relationships now, romantic partners or spouses or things like that, they actually come from a family of narcissism, either the mother or the father. And there's a real problem with this. I think it was a generational thing, or maybe it was the times, but when we were growing up, any sort of emotional, physical, mental, sexual abuse of any sort was just considered sort of a family secret. Those are the things that families kept to themselves. It's just what you dealt with. It was a whole world of secrets, and it was so important that on the outside you looked really good. On the outside, it looked like everybody was polite and people were kind, and usually a narcissistic father was also the nicest guy in town that everybody loved, would always help people. And then they'd go home, and there would be viciousness and emotional violence and manipulation and control. Let's say it was a narcissistic mother. That image thing, really comes forward a lot. And many times women who are narcissistic mothers, they're the ones that are front and center, popular. Everybody looks up to them and admires them, and they always look nice and they always dress well. And at home, they're controlling of their kids, they're minimizing, they're demeaning, they're manipulative. They set kids up to fail over and over. I uh, remember one story of a woman who would set cookies in front of her 3-year-old child. And every time her 3-year-old child would reach for the cookies, she'd get in trouble for reaching for the cookies. You don't put cookies in front of a 3-year-old. That's ridiculous. You don't do that. These are the sorts of, subtle, passive manipulation that happens in a lot of narcissistic families. And the problem is that the emotional violence and the emotional abuse is so big that many women, many children who grew up in families like that are ashamed. They're ashamed that maybe now as adults, that they're in relationships which are exactly the same, where you have to hide, where you have to protect, where you have to not tell anybody about the abuse that's happening. It's really kind of heartbreaking sort of things. One of the main things that keeps a narcissist family sick are the secrets. And that's, a program philosophy over and over. It's the secrets that keep us sick. So, how do you break out of the secrets? You start actively looking for groups of people or people to be a part of your community. Some are online, some are in person, some are paid, some are not paid, some are religious, some are practical. But we start developing a community around us of safe people where you feel supported, and you can start to unload and open up about the secrets of the family that you're either currently living in, because it was recreated, or the family of your past. The secrets are things like having to go to the food pantry because all the money was spent on gambling or other women, having to, not being able to pay the bills and explaining to people. And many times the children in narcissistic families were the ones who were forced to step up and be the adults. The family itself was so disordered was so dysfunctional, and always something happening, trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma, that many times the children born in those families were the only ones who were somewhat rational, oddly enough. And so they watched this weird dynamic happening, and they knew that the secrets were wrong, and they knew that this wasn't how you were supposed to treat people. But here they are, a child as a victim, trying to figure out what's going on. And all of these dynamics, all of this secret little hive, let's say, of delusion and insanity and manipulation and anger and hurt and viciousness, typically then took women and turned them into very nice women, into empaths and compassionate people, thinking, wow, this isn't how you're supposed to treat people. And so they ended up in narcissistic relationships again, because I know in many families, the only way you know what a quote unquote healthy family looks like is from the media, is from, social media or television or movies. And the media is designed to sell you something, it's designed to entertain you. It's not always necessarily designed to reflect real truth. I knew when I was growing up, the big thing was, sitcoms, and 20 minutes or less, every problem in the world was solved. And I looked at, my life, and many women looked at their lives as children and said, wait, this doesn't fit. And so because you don't fit in the norm, the secrets begin. And because when many women reached out as children and they were rejected or minimized, because adults didn't want to think that kids were being hurt, adults didn't want to have to bother. They had their own problems going on, their own things going on, their own life to live. And children were pretty much collateral damage in a narcissistic family dynamic. And so the secrets would continue and continue and continue and continue until they were so heavy that it was just accepted as reality. This is what relationships look like. Daddies always, fly off the handle. And so you can never test it because you don't want to, be treated that way. Or you'll never be like your mother, who was cruel and manipulative to you and would talk behind people's back. And actually, these narcissistic family dynamics, as I said many times, created really amazing, wonderful women and human beings. But the problem is that they never learned how to stand up for themselves, because the situation was so scary, was so out of control, was so traumatic, that the only thing that many children can do in that is to hide or apologize or try to fix or become perfect, or come up with some coping skills that in their child mind is the only thing that they can do, or disassociate. Um, that's what many children learn. And then trying to rewire that nervous system reaction is hard. But the way you do it is almost like pushing the restart button, where you say, you know what, this was a bad model. This was not a good model. I learned lessons, I got strength, it was amazing, but this is not the model of relationship I'm going to follow. And then you actively seek out people who develop some of those skills, people you admire, people who've made it through, people who have found a life that's balanced and happy. That's the point, is we're not meant to live in that level of dysfunction. And not all relationships are like that. And there is a balance that needs to happen, where women step into their power as feminine, as caring human beings who also protect themselves and protect their children. Because if you're in a narcissistic family, I can almost guarantee that secrets are the norm. And the way to break out of that, the way to start healing from that, is connection and community. Not viciousness, not going over the top, not explosive reactions, but community. And when we get community, we find a strength, and we tap into a strength of the collective. We tap into a wisdom and knowledge of people who understand what's going on and can help move you along, help give you courage and wherewithal and wisdom and insight and understanding. But it is hard to find a good group of women that aren't filled with narcissists. Many women go to energy, groups or healing groups or psychic groups, things like that, or 12-step programs. People in those groups, there will always be narcissists and predators attracted to those groups. So it's an excellent exercise in learning how to stand up for yourself. So it's not just wisdom, it's actually experiential education. You get to practice with people that you don't care about how to stand up for yourself and how to protect yourself, and that you have a voice, and that you matter, and that your feelings are important, that your life is important. It's about coming out of the shadows. It's about opening up about the secrets, not just to a therapist, but to a loving, supportive community. And that community needs to be as solid as you can make it. So be discerning, be smart. Find groups of people that you've kind of tested a little bit and said, are they safe? Do they understand? Are they going to be supportive? Or are they going to rip me apart and make me feel like I'm an even bigger failure? That I'm even crazier than I thought I was, that maybe I did deserve it because I didn't, I wasn't a warrior princess. There's another way. And the way is, start by loving yourself enough to recreate the family that you were supposed to have, not necessarily the family that you got, so that you can finally get the experiences you were supposed to get to grow up as a normal, balanced human being that has healthy skills, instead of all the coping mechanisms that you developed over the years. So it's pushing the reset button and learning how to find people who can help give you those experiences and give you the love and give you the care that you deserve, because you don't have to be stuck. So if you are feeling a little trapped, a little stuck, wanting some community, reach out. We're growing this group, and the price is going to be really, really great for the year, the whole year, until we reach 40 women. So we're still moving and grooving and gathering people into the group. And if you're interested, send out a flag. The best way is to message me. I'll usually get back within 24 hours or so. And we'll start a conversation and see if, what's going on and where you're at and how we can help, and the different options available. Even if you have no money, I've got a whole library of training videos and support videos and things along those lines. Or we've got the group, as I said, which is super affordable. We've got the public groups and the private groups. There's so much support. You do not have to do this alone. You do not have to hide in the shadows. You don't have to protect yourself from everyone and everything. And if you're currently in a narcissistic relationship, whether it's a parent or whether it's a spouse, healthy groups of women give you the confidence and the strength and the experience and the nourishing and the parenting that you needed in order to be a healthy, balanced human being. You are on your way, and just watching this is the first step. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. So have a great weekend. Reach out if you need some help, because we can figure it out. You don't have to do this alone. You were never supposed to do this alone. Somebody brainwashed you into thinking you had to do it alone, and that somehow the secrets of the family were shameful instead of something to be embraced, and you applauded for being as strong and smart and funny and interesting and wise and successful as you have been. Because it's a real burden when you come from a narcissistic family, and you should be applauded for the fact that you keep taking these steps forward. I'm proud of you. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on Monday, okay? Bye.